Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome to episode 30 of Shrigleytube TV. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the kind comments over the amsr video. I'm pleased you enjoyed it. I've got lots of questions to answer, which I will get round to. I've just been busy this week, and I need to sit down with the laptop and go through them all. My little thumb's getting better, so I'm a bit happy about that. It's not hurting as much, which is good. So it's been a good productive week. Don't know what I've done but I've been busy. I've had a visit from Chris, the chap who picked up the engine, which was the amsr build, and we dynoed it, and I ran it under load with some Webers on it, and then when he came we put the Strombergs on, so I did a bit of a comparison just for your interest there. So that was quite interesting. And then also we had a visit from Ed Linton, who is a rally car driver from back in the day, and he's revisiting his youth in his rally car Hillman. He brought it down for the head to be retalked, so I just did that for him, and he agreed to be interviewed, which was great. And then I called him a long critter, which I don't know where that came from. I just had one of those brainfuls moments, but luckily Ed took it on the chin, no problem, and yeah, we got away with it. But I do apologise, Ed, sorry about that. I meant to say a long creature. Anyway, I'm just going to wrap this up because we've already run out of time on the video. Some development on the Benoy engine. I'll just pull the camera off so you can see. I've been collecting parts, so we've got some new stones for it. They're quite posh. These are CP ones. We've got a lot of machine work to do to the top of them. They've come with 2mm extra on top, so we can make the chamber shape how we want it. I've given the engine a bit of a blast, and I've bored it to 74mm now, so this will now become a 1200cc engine, opposed to being it was an 1150 for years. So hopefully that's going to give Simon, he said, will it give him more horsepower? I said, it probably won't give you any much more horsepower, but it'll certainly give you some more torque. So I'm excited for him for that. And we've got our new posh valve springs have arrived, and also our new posh valves have arrived, which is great. And they came from REC Components, and if there's anybody on here that uses REC Components, Paul Ivy, they'll know that these packages used to come in brown paper, the neatest brown paper you've ever seen wrapped around the outside of the box. But anyway, they don't have the brown paper anymore, and they started crying. But I think the business has been took over. I think Paul's probably quite elderly now, so he's probably handed it over to someone. Anyway, there you go. So we're going to get on with all that, get that built, and hopefully we'll get a tune out of it next week together on Shrigleytube. Great. Well, thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday. Right, okay, YouTubers, thought it was a bit of a long overdue update on the spacefame imp. I was working on it last Sunday. It's Sunday night now. Hopefully you've just finished watching the amsr video, relaxing on your two-piece. So this is where we're up to. I've just basically put these tonight. I put these extra struts in here, that one and that one, and they're going to help mount the new seat rail. And then up here I've got some statics of this as well. Basically that it's hard to explain, but round here was basically just open, so it was like a half cage welded from underneath, which was perfectly adequate. But because we're going to get the scrutineer around, I bought these clasps that go on top, so we'll put the bolts through, and then it'll all look like a proper safety devices cage. Well, it obviously was a safety devices cage at one time, but I just want to avoid as many incidents with the homologation guys as possible, because like I did say initially in the video that I just wanted to do a hill climb with this. Now I want to go out there and full it race it. So I'm going to bring some door bars down, so we're going to go down like that and back up again. I've seen all the gussets etc on eBay that I want to make that happen. I'm going to double him, and I might even put a floor bar, all the way along the bottom there, so that if you look, there's nothing really stopping it from if you've got a bad side impact. So I just want to try and create as strong a shell as possible. I've really enjoyed working on this so far. It's an interesting project. It's like it sort of talks to you. I put Smooth FM on, so I'm playing a lot of Belinda Carlisle, that sort of stuff, all from the 80s, and it sort of tells you about its antics going around Brands Hatch and stuff like that, and Lyddon Hill back in the day. So yeah, can't wait to get it together and running. It's just time. I just need a time machine. But we're getting there slowly. So I think next step will be weld door bars, and then the weather's going to pick up, push it outside on the rotisserie, spin it round, get the line on it, and wipe it all down, and we'll paint it. I've just all done is brushed ammonite on, smooth right on, just because the garage is a tin roof, so bit concerned that the moisture's going to attack it. You know, I've had the dehumidifier flat out, but still, it came back from the shop blasters totally naked. So we've managed to keep all the rust off it so far. I will keep it that way, and then we'll get it all sealed with a nice top coat, and then we'll buy some aluminium sheet and start repaneling it all. And then I reckon once I get that to that stage, it'll start flying then, because I'll be dead keen to get the engine and box in and get the wheels on it, etc. Anyway, right, enough of that. I'll speak to this, well, it's Sunday night again, but the week after. So we've got a week to get through yet. We've plenty to get through this week. Benoit's pistons have arrived, etc. So we'll get stuck into all that. Okay, good morning YouTubers. I just thought I'd do a little bit of an interesting comparison. I'm stood behind the dyno door here because it's too noisy inside. And what I'm going to do is, I've got Chris coming to pick the 998 that we did the amsr build on last week. Now, it's on trim 40's at the moment, and I've just been running it in, etc, finding out how much advance it wants and all the rest of it. And I just thought we'll do a peak torque run now together, just stood next to it, and then when we've got the Strombergs on, we'll see what the power difference is, because I think obviously being single choke per cylinder, it gives a lot more torque, even though in theory bigger. Anyway, you'll see what I'm trying to get at when we run it in a second. Right, okay, that was quite interesting because it's not a particularly brilliant, well, it's not a bad air date, it's 1020 millibar, and we saw roughly 75 foot-pound of torque at about 5,000 RPM. Now, these trumpet length here, normally we just run a 15mm trumpet, but my clever mate Will Parry, the exhaust man, said, oh, you could do for longer inlet tracks, you might find you'll get a sweet spot. And I think to be fair, with the R17 cam, I think that worked quite well. I certainly don't think we'll see anything like the same amount of torque out of it when we've got the Strombergs on. So I'm going to make the plug leads up now before Chris arrives. And the other thing I was going to say was, it's not a high compression engine this, it's 10.2 to 1. So yeah, that's not a bad torque figure. That I was quite pleased with that. Nice to see a good figure like that. I do wonder, if I had time, I'd put short trumpets on and see if we move the power further up. But anyway, we haven't got time for that. We've got to get on with the job. Okay, YouTubers, Chris has dropped the carburetors off, looking very, very nice. He's had them professionally restored. They look like a proper job, I'm sure. That we're going to bolt them straight on the engine. Got the exhaust manifold on already, and it will get a tune out of it, and we'll run it together and see if it's got any power. But anyway, moving on. This is Chris. Welcome to Shrigleytube, Chris. Thanks for agreeing to be on. I really appreciate it. And this is Bergerac, as you've all met before.
Loitering again.
Yeah. Right, I thought I'd bring these two together because they're both dealers in classic cars, so they've got lots of stories to share, and they're talking about different cars. And also, there's like a bidding war started out on my XJ40.
Yeah,
we're currently the scrap man's gone now. It's okay.
Yeah, we're currently in single figures.
That is a lovely car. That would make someone very, very happy. Anyway,
it'll make me happy at 15 quid.
Oh, God. Right, Chris.
You make your money when you buy.
Well, that's it. That's what I'm saying. It's a good sale to be had here today, guys. Right, Chris. This I keep forgetting to do the microphone. This car you bought, Chris. Give us a bit of history and tell us a bit about your business. Whatever you talk about, what you want to talk about.
Well, I'll start with the car. I've always wanted a something Stiletto.
Wow.
A friend of mine's brother at school had one when I was, I think, probably 16, 17, and I was really, really envious of it.
Is when you had your Mini?
No. That's way before I was even capable of driving.
All right.
Just loved the shape. Didn't really know much about the engines at the time, but I've always been keeping an eye out for one, and then one popped up on an auction. Bought it. Opened up the engine bay. L2 head.
Oh no.
So obviously, I think a super deluxe engine. I think L4.
Right. Yeah.
Which I knew had to come out. So it was then a case of getting on the phone and eBay and internet and finding who could supply me with a 180 head engine, and managed to find one, and was told that you're the only person I should take it to. So here I am. Wow.
Right. Well, would you like another cup of tea? We've got some dinner in there as well for you. Right. Well, that's wonderful, Chris. Well, I look forward to seeing the car when it's all done and all up and running. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to bolt your carbs on, because I have run this without you being here just to proof test the engine, and we're going to see how it performs with the Strombergs on. Hopefully, they'll just bolt straight on, and we'll get a tune for the next half an hour.
Very much looking forward to it.
Right, we'll crack on. Okay, we're just on the dyno now with the amsr 998 of Chris's. We just changed the carburetors from the Webers to the Strombergs, and we have done some runs, so we've evened the carbs out a little bit, and we're quite happy with what it's doing. So I thought I'd make a little video for you chaps. I will try and zoom in now on the torque meter so you can see where we're at. I know some of you enjoy seeing what it's doing. So previously we did see roughly 75 foot-pound of torque, and now we're seeing about 70 at 3.5, respectable. We'll load it up so we can get a 3,000 figure. Of course, being a small carburettor, it's got really good airspeed, so it's really happy to do its power down below, even with the R17 cam. So the 3,000 there, still holding a good, let's say 70 foot-pound. We won't go any lower than that because it gets a bit rattly on the shaft. Just give him a rest a second, then we'll try and do a sweep and let him hang on to probably sort of 6,000, 6,500. There won't be much point going past that because it's a brand new engine on tight tolerances. I don't really want to rev the cagoolies off it yet. So 4,000, then it's still going up, maybe 71, 72, 5,000, it's still holding 70. 5.5, it's maybe 68 there, 6,000, 6.5, 6.5, it was still holding a good 65 foot-pound there, so we'll just do a quick calculation with my calculator. Did I say 65 at 6,500? Let's just get that. So it's 65 multiplied by 6500 equals that, divided by 5252 equals that. 80 horsepower, Chris.
Up there every day.
It'll be alright, won't it? Yeah. Get you out of trouble in the ULEZ zone. Right, brilliant. Well, I think we'll call it a day. All that smoke that was coming out, that black there, is just the exhaust silencer. It's full of fuel and carbon. It's not rich or anything. It's just, you'll have to do a lap of the M25 at 3 in the morning to clear it out. Okay, right. We're joined here today by our friend Ed Linton. Ed's very kindly agreed to have a little interview. He's just inspecting his new radiator that we've had made. This is your supersonic rad, Ed. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's a bespoke one, been made with a race core. It's not actually a red tack one, is it? It's a different one, this.
No, it's not a red tack. I found this company that would actually make the bigger core in it.
Yeah.
And then you've developed it from there, so it's worked out quite well, really.
I spoke to the bloke and said, we need to remove 100 horsepower of heat energy. Can you make it work? And he said, absolutely no problem. So I'm really excited to get this on the dyno and run it flat out, 8,000 for like 2 minutes to see if it can cope with the heat. But I'm too busy to get near it at the moment, Ed. And as the weather's not heated up yet, oh, thank you, Mr. Postman. Yeah, as the weather's not warmed up enough yet to test, Ed's already had some work done on his cooling system, and it's working okay, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah, it's reduced the temperature by about 15 degrees.
15 degrees, yeah. So if you remember, I did talk a little bit when we were talking about the radiator in an episode recently that basically we changed the fan system so that the fan ran the opposite way, so it draws the air from underneath and blows it into the radiator, into the engine bay area, because what we thought was happening was the heat was radiating off the engine and then getting blown through the radiator, so it could possibly be like 45 degrees ambient in the engine bay, and then you're trying to blow that through the rad and remove it down to like 75 degrees. It was just too big a hill for it. So this now, when we put the cooler here, that was a big improvement, wasn't it?
Massive, yeah. It's increased the oil temperature as well at tick over.
Oil pressure,
yeah,
because the oil's thicker. Yeah.
So it's increased the oil pressure at tick over as well.
Excellent. Well, it's obviously doing its job, and the amount of waft that we get out of it. In fact, you know what, Ed? I'll just finish doing a bit of a chat. Maybe we could just fire it up, and I'll try and show people with a bit of paper how much air it pushes past. Stick the rad back in the office if you want, or in the front, or whatever. This is Ed's 998 Rally Imp anyway, and it's a very pretty thing. Doesn't start first time. But if we get a bit of paper, or I've got a rag. There you go. It's quite a large amount of air. If you put your hand next to it, you really can feel it. But thanks for doing that, Ed. Anyway, but I think the viewers get the gist now. We're sucking the cold air from the floor and blowing it through the radiator, or sucking it through the radiator, so it sucks it through the whole area of it and then through the cooler as well. So the only reason I can think that Roots didn't do it this way is because if you were unfortunate enough to go over a plastic bag, it could in theory get sucked up against the bottom of the radiator guard and then overheat the engine. So whereas anything, it's less likely for anything to be able to get in here if it's going that way, you know. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for that, Ed. We'll get in the car now and have a chat if you don't mind, and you tell me all about your motoring history.
Come on.
Okay, we're just sat inside this wonderful cockpit, and it's absolutely mint, this car, Ed. It's really, really nice. I'm loving all the trip meters, etc. I'm going to ask you if you can just start with where did the interest for the Hillman? Well, what was the state that made you think, right, I'm going to buy a Hillman and go rallying?
Well, it's the same old story. My dad had one.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he had one. When I was 16, I was really interested into the rallying.
Yeah.
And helped a guy who used to go and watch him build actually a rally imp. It was literally round the corner. And looking at it, I said, "Oh, I'd love to go rallying and love one of Hillman imp." So anyway, I passed my test on my 17th birthday.
Wow.
And saw in the Motoring News a rally imp for sale. And it was one of the original 998 rally imps that they made for the homologation.
Oh my word. Do you remember the reg number?
HTC 405D, I think it was.
Wow.
I've got a picture of it. I'll give you a picture of it.
Mm.
And it was in that pea green, and I hated the colour. You know, that Hillman imp pea green.
I quite like that.
So I also was helping at the time a friend to build his Rally Mini at his father's farm. So I thought, right, I'm going to prepare my car properly, and I want to spray it in the Chrysler blue. Remember?
The light blue. Yeah,
the Chrysler blue, not the darker Roots blue.
Yeah.
That was the works colour. So anyway, I rebuilt the car there, and I went rallying from there. Did a lot of the night events in and around North Wales.
Yeah.
Did a couple of Motoring News rounds with a fantastic navigator called Brian Goff from Burnley Way, Clone.
Wow. Did you get any victories or?
Well, we had quite a good result on the JJ Brown in 1977, Hillman Imp. It was fantastic. Brian Goff was probably one of the best navigators in the area,
right?
And he kind of shouted out all the bends very quickly. And I'm sure we finished in the top 5 in that, wow, amongst a load of Escort PDAs.
Yeah, I was born in 1977.
So anyway, the finish of the rally, I always remember Brian saying, he said, "Bloody hell, Ed, I've never been so sideways in my life." I said, "Well, that's the only way you can get an imp around the bend quickly." Yeah,
because it's all tail happy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So did you mention Skip Brown to me at some point? Did he do an engine for you?
Yeah, he kind of helped me in the early stages when I built my car. I had a problem with the engine. I wondered what to do with it because it was on twin strombergs as a standard setup. And Skip Brown only lived about 4 miles from me, so I used to go down there with the car, and he was fantastic. Skip, he used to help me with lots of bits and pieces. And he said, I'm testing this Lucas fuel injection system.
Oh wow, that's my dream. That I love a Lucas on them.
Yeah, so he fitted it for me, but we just couldn't get it quite running properly, and it was letting me down on a couple of events. So I splashed out because I was only young and didn't have a lot of money, so I splashed out on a couple of Weber carburetors for it.
Yeah.
And then later on, probably just about 1978, decided to do a great pal of mine was a chap called Mike Stewart, who had a works drive in the end, and he had a works drive with the Group 1 Escort for Quicks for Ford. He sponsored him.
Right.
And then he went on to Rovers and the Metro 6R4s, and he had works drive, and he was alongside Tony Pond.
Wow.
So, but prior to him doing that, Mike and I were great friends from Chester, and we decided to do the Car and Car Conversions Rally Championship.
Yeah.
Mike then had a 1300 Escort, and he did up to the 1300cc class, and I did the 1000cc class, and we both won our classes, or we both won the championship at the end of the year.
Excellent.
But unfortunately, on the last event on that, it was a really rough event, and the imp broke its back.
Oh no.
Cross on the back cross member. It was a bit rusty.
Right.
So it broke its back. Anyway, a good pal of mine, a welder, he put a big L section.
Yeah, where the cross member
welded it, and I put it on the market and sold it. It went the next day.
Was it you, or I confused with someone else to tell me about a cylinder head that you saved up for?
Yeah, well, I wanted a Wills ringed head, and I always remember I saved my money up, got a Wills ringed head, got
a young lad, I take it at the time.
Yeah. I was like 17 then.
Wow.
And I always remember going down to Chrysler competitions on the train
in Coventry.
Yeah.
Wow, you actually went in there.
Yeah, and so who was the parts manager there? I forget who it was, but I got to meet Des Adele down there. It was fantastic.
Wow.
And anyway, I bought the cylinder head, and I think it was 90 quid, something like that.
Wow.
Which was a lot of money back in 77ish. And brought it back in the suitcase on the train over the moon. Yeah.
Oh, and I fitted it and I went rallying.
Yeah.
So I take it then what's happened is we've had like a lifetime of grafting and building businesses up and whatever, and then did you decide to retire, did you?
Well, yeah, I from kind of the age when I reached 22, I'd kind of got into the motor trade, and then became a sales manager in a car dealership, built myself up to a regional director, worked for the old group Henleys,
right,
backbone to the British Leyland factory. Okay. They were the main retailers, and I just worked 7 days a week up until, and then I went by myself, bought my own garages, sold those, got planning permission, then bought 3 more businesses. And
Crikey, you've been busy, man.
A year before I was got to retirement age, my wife says, "When are you going to retire?" I said, "I can't retire."
Yeah.
She said, "Well, get something to do." So I thought, right, I'll go rallying again. So my dream car was always an Alpine 110.
Oh yeah, pretty little car.
I wanted one in Gordini blue. I wanted the 1600 one. I saw one advertised in Spain that wanted cosmetically refurb on it. So I sent the guy a deposit, got a flight out to Spain. He picked me up from the airport.
Wow.
We went out in the car and he said, "Do you want to test drive it?" I said, "No, it's okay because I'm going to strip it down and rebuild it." And he said, "No, come on, we'll take it for a run." So I tried to get in the car. I couldn't get in it because I'm like 6'2".
You're a long critter, aren't you?
So you can see me in the imp.
Yeah, it fits you quite well, the imp.
Yeah, so I thought, damn, I couldn't get in the car. And when I eventually got in it backwards, my head was like this up against the roof of the car. So I thought I can't rally one of these because it even had the low rally period seating.
Yeah.
So I thought there's no adjustment there. So I said to the guy, I said, "Well, I should have tried one before I went out there to buy it." And he said, "I suppose I've lost my deposit." He said, no, not a problem. He said, I've got 10, you were the first one to send me the money. I've got 10 people chomping at the bit to buy it. So he gave me my money back, and I flew home, got home. Wife picked me up from the airport, and she said, did you like the car? I said, no, it's a bit of a problem there. Explained it to her. She said, well, what are you going to get? I said, I don't know. I said, I don't want an Escort, I don't want a Mini. I was thinking about a 911, but I thought no. And she said, well, why don't you go back to a Hillman Imp, because you did quite well in one of those when I first met you. You had an Hillman Imp. So I thought, yeah, I will. So anyway, I started making a few phone calls. I joined the Imp Club, the Northwest region, spoke to a few people.
That's where I met you, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah, it's the Imp Club. And so somebody said, oh, there's this guy in the Midlands, I won't mention his name, but he can build you one. So I thought, well, I've got to start off with a good shell. So I rang him up, had a few conversations with him, gave him a budget of what I wanted to spend, and he said, I think I've got you a shell, a white one. I said, well, okay, we'll go and have a look at it. So I was due to go that weekend to have a look at the shell with him. Anyway, he rang me up and said, sorry, we've missed it, it's been sold. Well, I think that was fortuitous, because I was looking on the Facebook historic rallying section, and this Hillman Imp popped up for sale in Scotland from a chap called David Charles. And it popped up as an alert, because I'd put an alert out for it, and it was 9 o'clock at night, and I tried to message him, and I messaged him, please ring me, please ring me, please ring me. I saw the pictures of the car, I said, I'm having it, that's the one, I'm having it.
It's the right colour,
Everything was right about it. So anyway, he eventually messaged me. He said, listen, I've just gone to bed, but I said, well, ring me now. He said, no, I'll ring you in the morning.
I'm keen.
I said, what time? 6 o'clock. And he said, no, I'll ring you at 9 o'clock when I'm up and about. Anyway, he rang me, talked a little bit. I said, right, you've told me off, give me your bank account details, I'll send you a deposit. So set up to Scotland that weekend, got a trailer off a pal, farmer friend of mine, and had his 4x4, and we went and picked it up and got it back, and that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember you coming to the club, and then actually, every time I spoke to you, you'd done another rally. I was like, wow, I've met an Imp Club member who's got a rally Imp that actually uses it every weekend and goes rallying, because you've done quite a lot in this car, haven't you?
Yeah, with last year we did 14 events.
14 events, good going that, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a lot of commitment, isn't it? It's full time, you know. I've rang you and you've been under the car maintaining donuts and changing radiators, and we've been battling a bit with the temperature, haven't we? We've got it sort of under control now.
Well, that was the big problem, the temperature on it, because it, I kind of pedalled it hard. It always kind of seemed to get very, very hot. And we did the Isle of Man rally at the start of the year, the 3-dayer with Hero Events, and we were doing very well. In fact, after the second leg, I think we were lining the top 10, which was good.
Wow. There's some good gear in them championships, isn't there?
But then, of course, we had a temperature problem. So it was a Saturday night, 9 o'clock at night, we went out the event, got a lift back to the start, towed it back and got the early ferry back and brought the engine straight to you.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating because it had the wrong head gasket on, I think, didn't it?
As I remember it, the head gasket was a little small, wasn't it? It overlapped into the bore, and the piston had nibbled the top of the edge of the firing.
That's it.
And then it had just burnt through. But also, I think it was it quite worn, the piston rings? Was it smoking as well? Or was that later?
No, that was later when we did an event where the filters got clogged up with dust.
It definitely had pistons the first time round as well, I remember, because
that's right.
We did put pistons in it, and then we had the issue with the K&M filters clogging, didn't we?
That's right.
And then it sucked all the dust in, and then it gooed the rings, and that's great. Well, thank you very much for the interview.
It's all right.
I think that's about us up to date, isn't it?
Yeah.
And brilliant, absolutely stunning car. I don't know if the camera can do justice to the interior. It's fantastic. It's a proper period. Is this actually a period car, by the way?
Yeah, the Dave Charles up near Dundee in Scotland, he actually rebuilt the car, and he kind of did quite a good job on it. It's pretty immaculate. He said he got a rust-free shell.
Yeah.
But although it is immaculate, it's not a show queen. You know, it was built as a rally car.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think he did a few events in it, but what he's done on it has been fantastic.
All the parts look very genuine. The works, and you know.
I've modified the dashboard more to put the tip system in, which you need for these road rallies.
Yeah, it's all about navigation, isn't it? You were telling me. Yeah. Fantastic.
So and also I've had great help off Mark Maynard.
Mark Maynard,
he's been very helpful.
Yeah.
When I got the car, there was an aluminium tank, but it hadn't been fitted. I didn't realise, and the chap didn't tell me, but it's one of the original works petrol tanks, which are very, very rare.
Wow. And
where it actually sits, it's got a complicated bracketing system, and I had problems getting one made. And eventually I rang Clark Dawson up in Carlisle Way.
Yeah.
What a helpful guy he is. Such a knowledgeable guy about works rally imps. Is amazing.
Yeah, what Clark doesn't know about rally imps isn't worth knowing.
And his collection of stuff he's got there, it's mind blowing.
Wow.
And he's made me the bracketing system on the tank, which is identical to a work system.
Would you mind if you had a quick look at it?
Yeah, sure, we'll have a look at that. He's put me a works pedal box in as well.
Yeah. Oh, those look good. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, it's a pretty little thing. Very period. What's the silver stripe? Is that a heated front screen as well?
Yeah, so it's got a laminated heated front screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet that comes in handy.
Oh, yeah.
When it's wet and you're all get rained on in your overalls.
Fantastic, yeah. Really
oh wow, look at that. Oh, I've got some hose for you there, haven't I? We discussed that before.
I'm going to replace
that. Don't go without it.
That only the tank only went in last week.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, it's quite an involved tank, and that's aluminium, is it?
Yeah, it's aluminium.
Yeah.
The bracketing system goes onto the pedal box, and the other side fits onto the blanking plate.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Drive,
yeah, on the early imps. And the late ones, they cut that out when they were doing the cost cutting.
And just to fit in here is a wooden
is that for your
dipstick?
Your dipstick.
Which I'm just having kind of copied to the exact works type.
You have got a fuel sender though.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Apparently it's Roots, when they built the car, they went into the labour and nicked the mop handles, chopped it down to put it in. Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely stunning. Right, well, thank you very much again, Ed. That's great. That you can get your popcorn ready and watch yourself on Sunday night on Shrigleytube. Okay, I thought we'd do a little bit of an update on the Ian Carter mini engine that goes on the mini gear. It's an imp engine that goes on the mini gearbox. Very special piece of kit, this. If you remember, a few episodes ago we met the chap and stripped it down and had a look to see what had happened, and unfortunately it had been fitted with the thrust bearing back to front, so the crank was rubbing on the hard face of the thrust washer when you press the clutch, so it loaded it all up and made a right mess of it. It bent the crank like an Arno. It's like 20 thou out. So I pushed the crank straight again in the press, and I was hoping, I got it to within about 1.5 thou, and I was hoping that we could just leave it on the mains and just get the big ends ground. Now I've just torqued it up now, and it's not bad, but it's definitely got a nice bit there and a tight bit there, which is just where it's pulling, because it's not quite straight. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to send it in for grinding. We're going to get the big ends are going to end up on 20s, because this is like 8 thou out of round, and then we'll get the thrust done as well to plus. You can get like oversized thrust, so we'll get it put on plus 10 thou thrust and clean that up, and we'll go 10s on the mains as well. But at least now we've got the crankshaft straight within a couple of thou. When we get the mains done, the ends won't be all over the show. So yep, not the ideal result. I was hoping that it'd just go lovely, but it's just not quite right, that. So we can't risk it with it being such a special engine. If it was a road going hill, I'd probably be inclined to say, oh well, let's just see how it goes, but it's a bit of a specialist engine, so we'll get the crank off and get it ground. Okay, YouTubers, I'm joined here with Tim Alderson, who's very kindly, he's a friend of mine, and also he does a BMW.
Why is kind?
Pardon? I'm just on YouTube, Dougie.
No, why is kind?
Why he's kind?
Yeah.
He's very kind. Very kindly agreed to come and look at Daddy's Spacefame Imp. See if we can get it scrutineered, ready to go racing. Now, Tim, I'm not holding you to anything but you know, you've seen lots of this sort of stuff in Jersey, old stuff. What are your thoughts?
Well, first off, we don't have a race circuit in Jersey, so the cars I see are normally rally cars, hill climb cars, sprint cars, that sort of thing. But so what I can say is basically, if this was going to go on a hill climb, it'd probably go under Sports Libra.
Right.
And there's a few basic things which it seems to have. Usually it's a complete car that I see.
yeah. Well, that's all. What I could do is I was going to ask you like about the seatbelt mounts, for example. Can both of the rear harness go to one point, or do they have to go to independent points?
No, if with a 6-point harness, you need 6 points for it to.
6 independent points, right? That's great. And now I know I can organise that, right?
Yeah, so they all have to be separate.
Yeah.
Because it's an older car, as long as there's proof that it's previously been used.
Oh yeah,
it's got of a certain age. You can get away with 28mm tube.
It's 38. This is
38.
Yeah, 38. Yeah.
And there's things like the rear diagonals have to be a minimum of 30 degrees from the vertical.
Okay.
These are well in there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to look at, is there? But yeah.
What I was interested in case you said, Andy, I'm going to need to see an extra crisscross in here so that we've got extra side impact strength. Is that not part of the scrutineering, or is that separate?
Well, in the blue book, it gives you like basic diagrams of what you need.
I've seen them,
Yeah. So, and the joints, how the joints are, I mean, it's all welded. Is that 38 as well?
I think that's smaller.
Yeah, looks so.
Yeah. It's just the main. I imagine this to be, looking at this sort of design here, originally was like a safety devices imp cage.
Yeah. And they've put this in as part of the
Daddy,
yes.
I just see
chassis for the
some
bodywork.
drip on down there.
A little drip.
Yeah.
That's because the dehumidifier's broken, Dougie, and the workshop's full of water.
And it's dripping.
It's dripping. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I mean, what's with door bars, they say you have to keep them as high as possible.
All right.
But obviously, it's going to be very difficult to get in and out.
Yeah.
Daddy,
So-
you registered on the shot and that does shit.
Yeah.
And the one just bashed you.
Don't worry about the drip, Dougie, and please don't interrupt when Tim's talking. Thank you.
So normally you'd get, if you want to do the basics and just have a basic door bar, I tend to think they should be about hip height.
Okay.
So you'd start up and then probably drop it down a bit so it makes it easy to get in. You can put X bars in, but you know, when you get to a certain age, it gets a bit harder to get
Yeah,
in
I was
there.
gonna put like little handles here, and I was just gonna slide myself in like a stock car, you know, straight in,
Slide
feet
in,
first, because there's nothing outside. Yeah, I'm pretty keen to put something in here anyway.
Yeah.
I bought the bar; it's at work. I forgot to bring it home, but I won't be working on it this weekend.
So as long as it's got the bare minimum that you need, and then you can have these extra bits in as well, but you probably will have to come through this bit and then
That is a
turn
big
it on.
engine.
Hey, what's up, Dougie?
What's that?
That's a big engine, isn't it? That's a motorboat engine.
Oh my God.
Goodness, not God. Yeah, right. Well, Tim, I think we've covered it there. So basically, the cage is the right size. We could do some more bars. We've got to have independent points to mount the seat. No doubt I'll have to visit this again later on. But you can't see any massive issues at this moment for Sports Libra up the hill in Jersey.
No, as long as it's got the right size.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tubes in
I've not
there.
brought a vernier, but it is on 38. Yeah.
And it is, best bet if I came back and we've done some more. As a bit more advanced.
Daddy,
Dougie, what's up?
don't have fix on that bit.
That's where you sit, Dougie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the co-driver, but you can't co-drive with a lollipop. Okay, you've got to give it steady. Oh, mate, that's so. Is that how much you want to be a co-driver? You'll share a lollipop with Daddy.
Just like I just didn't take my bolt off and sharing it.
Oh, thanks, Doug. Right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Tim. That's very valuable information
Yeah,
for
sorry
me.
I can't be of great help. But,
No, that's great.
We'll have a look as it progresses. And,
Okay, chaps, to finish off, I thought we'd do a quick walk around the workshop and just have a look at where various projects are up to. This, of course, is the downdraft headed 1120 that we ran the other week, and we've got the good power out of it. This has got the motorbike pistons and rods in with the small pins, and I'm just on with, I've got my walk pump organised. I just need to find time to bolt all this on the side of the engine with the new radiator, the high efficiency radiator that Ed's got for his imp. We're going to put this on and run it on the dyno. So that's all coming very soon. I just need to get some time, or make a time machine. This is my wonderful, we won't look at that part of the welding. That's my Rover V8 gearbox. I did have a question in the comments asking how it was all going. So there's been a big change of plan. This is the new engine for the Husky, which is an old school 3.5 Rover V8 engine. The original one that I was building for the Husky is here. This is the 4.6. Now this is the cross-bolted block, and it's quite substantially heavier than the 3.5. The 3.5 one doesn't have the shrouded mains caps like this one, so there's a lot less steel in it, and it just feels so much lighter. You can lift it up, you know. The 4.6 is a bit of a lump, to be honest. But someone in the comments section said, look, you know, if you're going to try and run this engine on a Hillman Imp gearbox, you need to think about the torque. So being over 1.1 litres smaller, this is a 4.6, this is a 3.5, this will have significantly less torque. So I thought, right, we'll go this route. It's just an old 3.5, it's got a bit of pitting here and there, and it's not a particularly brilliant engine. It had some bad bore marks, so I bored it and made it plus 20 thou, and then in my old box of stock car bits and pieces we found some flat top Omega pistons, so that's what they are, plus 20 thou pistons. So we're going to put some heads on this. I've got a bit of a cam for it as well, and then that's all going to go together, and then we'll bolt this on the end of it and we'll slot it in the Husky ready for summertime, for our Imp National weekend, and then I'll hopefully have it up and running for them. Right, well, thank you very much for joining me again this week. Thanks for the kind comments and the constructive ones, that's great. I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7.